Hello and welcome to my YouTube channel. My name is Doodle Robot, and today I'm going to be discussing with you all of my completed pages from March and April of 2021. I only discovered coloring in February, and I think I bought this. This is my first book that I bought. I was able to find it at the Walmart. I live in the sticks, and it took me a while to find a coloring book. So I found coloring. I was trying to teach myself how to watercolor paint, as that's something as an artist, I've never done. Mostly I'm an acrylic painter who hasn't painted in like 7 years or so, but my skills are waning. So I was trying to teach myself something smaller before I was doing like mural size canvases with house paint in an abstract expressionist way. And I wanted to teach myself to do something smaller. I wanted to change my style. And I had purchased some watercolor paints, the Mei Liang ones. You buy them as Mei Liang and they say pretty excellent on the package. So I just purchased those, and I was working on it a little bit. I didn't really have the time or creative energy to like really delve into it the way I wanted. But one day on YouTube, I was, leafing through my feed, and I think something came up that said watercolor painting and coloring books or something, and I don't know. I clicked on it, and I'm like, oh my gosh, those coloring book pictures are amazing. Those are like nice works of art. So I was then off binge watching all through February about coloring, and I finally thought to look in my Walmart in the middle of nowhere. It's the only store we have. In the book section. I was probably walking by the book section. I'm like, oh, I should see if they have a coloring book. And they had one, which was okay. I liked it. And I picked up my first coloring book in February. So I didn't complete my first page until March, but let's take a look at it. This is the first page I ever colored, barring childhood. Yeah, I think it came out pretty good. I had some Prismacolors. Like I have all the art stuff. I teach art, so I have all the art stuff. But don't judge my coloring. Teaching art and doing art are two different skill sets. And I was never a colorist, ever. Even though I had Prismacolors, I don't think I really had a set. I had like a random 84 of them. I drug them out. They were like 25 years old. They still work great. I've blown through those, though. And yeah, started coloring this. When I put the pencil on this paper, I'm like, oh, this is nice. It just glides on this paper. I like this. Although this page did have some issues. Like, I think they got too much ink on it or something, and it did tend to smear all over the place. But that is my first coloring book page. And what happens when you mess up? Like, I started doing the background blue, and I realized, oh, that's not going to make anything pop out. It's not going to make the focal point come to the forefront. So I made orbs. You know, as you're coloring, I'm like, okay, this is going to be the tree that gives birth to butterflies instead of leaves. So on this planet, they can have blue orbs in the sky. Why not? All right, so that is my first coloring book page, all in Prismacolor. From Butterflies, Flights of Fancy by Marjorie Sarnot. And then the second and third coloring books that I found, I actually, a couple weeks later, I thought I won the lottery when I found these. We have a dollar store here as well, and I found these in the dollar store. So I don't know, they're dollar store. I'm not sure I'm going to buy any more dollar store, and I may rip these out and get rid of these books, but at the time, I'm like, I found 2 more coloring books. This is awesome. I won the lottery. So the second picture I did was in this dollar store coloring book. It's a Bendon book. Adult Coloring Patterns. Relax and Rewind. I doubt there's an illustrator listed anywhere, but this is it. Not terribly great. It's okay. It was what it was. I just wanted to color something besides a butterfly. This, I think, was supposed to be a wave. I changed it into an ocean, a sun. So the sun could be setting on my waves, I guess. All right. Piece 2 I ever did. And then, I had those watercolors staring at me that I purchased and really never had the creative energy to use or learn how to do. So I thought I would try this page. I did it all in the background. I don't like this confetti page, but it seemed like a good page to go around with the watercolors. For some strange reason. I don't know why I had to paint around all those little things, but even where it's black there, I had covered that with watercolor as well. This is thin paper, but it didn't bleed through. It's very thin paper. You can see it buckled a lot, but it didn't bleed through. Ghosted a little bit. And then this black stuff is on top of the watercolor. That's marker, because there's no like focal point here. Everything was just confetti. It was like New Year's Eve confetti. And I'm like, well, we gotta bring something to the foreground, make a focal point. So I doodled on top of the watercolor. I used a black marker, water-based marker, because it didn't bleed through either, to kind of give it a focal point. I do like how it came out, even though it's all confetti. And this paper like took it. I kind of can't believe it. But anyways, no ripping, nothing. So that's my third piece ever done. All right, and then walking through Walmart again, and in the kids section, I actually found this little coloring book area where they had lots of kids coloring books, but they also had a couple of these from, this one is from Craze Art, Follow Your Dreams. I don't think they don't list an illustrator, but I picked up 2 or 3 of these books. One was from Crayola, 2 were from Craze Art. They're pretty good. Again, I'm like, oh yeah, I got a few more books. I was excited. I then started buying from Amazon, but yeah, I actually like this book, but this is the one I did. This is all Prismacolor. This is closer to my style that I used to do, so I had fun with this one. I love brick walls. I can do a brick wall really well. This brick wall came out pretty good, I think, with the graffiti letters. This is a good book, though. I really like this book. Some of it, I think one of the other books uses a lot of stock images, but this one has like a lot of 60s graffiti style stuff, which you'll never see me buy a book with words, but I do like graffiti stuff. So if it's graffiti-esque, I'll get it. A lot of things that look very Lichtenstein-like, which I like. There's a lot of 60s. This is an album cover from who? The Rolling Stones, maybe? Like with that 60s, 70s Zen-Doodle vibe thing going on. I like this book a lot. I love the mushrooms. Was this the book? Oh, this was the book. It's got lava lamps. I bought this for the lava lamps, the 60s inspired stuff, and especially for, oh, can I find it? It's the best page ever. Disco balls. I'm dating myself. Yes, I was alive in the 70s. I was a kid. Saturday Night Fever is burned in my brain. So, disco balls. I can't wait to do that page. But anyways, moving on. The next page I did was I finally got the courage to order some things off Amazon. I just was so nervous. Like, you can't pick them up and see them in person. I don't want to do that, but now I can't stop ordering off Amazon. Anyways, I did the title page in Nice Little Town 4 by, it says, I don't think she goes by this name anymore, but it says Tanya Bogoma Stolova. I thought she was named Tatiana, but maybe that's some other artist. I don't know. So I did the title page. The only thing on this title page was the mushroom and the snail and this little plant life. I think I put in the horizon line myself. It bugged me that there wasn't one. And I had to extend the plants a little bit. So, and then I got a stencil off Amazon, or Dick Blick, I think it's from Dick Blick, that I wanted to try. So I put that, it bugged me that there's no border, so I added my own border. I think I'm going to use this style of border on the rest of these pages. They've already outlined it for me. I think this transferred, or maybe it's see-through or something. So I think I'm going to use a border like that on all of these little pages. It kind of goes with the artwork. But this was my first Amazon printed book, and I binge watched a lot of coloring before I bought color books. And I heard people complaining about the Amazon paper, and I'm like, it can't be that bad. What are they complaining about? And then I tried it, and I think I gave myself carpal tunnel working on this book. All I had was Prismacolors at this point, so everything you've seen is Prismacolor. My 84. I did start ordering the rest from Dick Blick to complete the set, but yeah, trying to get the soft Prismacolor pencils into this, like, it feels soft, but it's not. It's got all these like holes in it. It's got this texture. So you had all these white spaces left, and to get those white spaces to go away, you have to press pretty hard. And I'm like, oh, this is what they're talking about. This is why it's so bad. Okay. So then I'm like, all right, I'm an art teacher. We could figure this out. I heard people talking about satin glazing liquid. So I ordered some of that. I ordered some Crayola, the 120 set of Crayola colored pencils. Art teachers, we know Crayola colored pencils. And I know some people out there think you can't do anything great with Crayola colored pencils, but I disagree. I have had students in AP Art get like, the highest score on the test, and they've turned in things in their portfolio that were done with Crayola colored pencils. Something they did their freshman or sophomore year where I hadn't introduced them to Prismacolors yet. I like to teach students to blend with Crayolas because you have to layer. You have to go light and layer the different colors on there. And if you can blend with those, then when I give you Prismacolors, you can blend. Okay? You know what you're doing. So I figured, it's like if we cover the paper with satin glazing liquid, I didn't think matte medium would work because I've seen students try to color over that. It never goes well. And I wasn't sure the watercolor ground would work either, but I had a feeling that satin glazing liquid would work for colored pencils. I'd seen people using it in their color books so that they could add water mediums. I have since used it for water mediums. Works great for that too. So I was trying it with my Prismacolors. The pinks here and the blues on this lady are Prismacolor. And I found that the Prismacolor on top of 2 thin layers of satin glazing liquid the Prismacolors feel like pastel pencils. Not pastel colored pencils, but pastel pencils. They leave a lot of dust behind, but they blend. They feel like that, like in art school when we were using those. It feels like pastel pencils. You gotta get a thing to dust all the dust away. But they worked fine on that. Better than just the naked paper. The best thing was the Crayolas, because of course they have the harder lead. The Crayolas felt like Prismacolors to me on top of the satin glazing liquid. They blended like Prismacolors. They felt more intense like Prismacolors. I thought they worked well. And then the best thing, I think I did it here on this is Crayola, this is Crayola here. This is like all Prismacolor. And then just a base layer of like a flat wash of watercolor paint to fill in even more of those holes than the satin glazing liquid helped the Crayolas work super well as well. So this was a whole experimental page. This is acrylic paint out here. Yeah, I really liked how this turns out. This is probably my favorite one thus far, maybe. Came out really good. I'm still experimenting with how to, like, what can we coat it with and what can we use to make it feel the Create Space paper, to make it feel like more like other coloring book pages. And I think I'm honing in on my technique that I will use. So, all right. Another one of those books I found in the children's section. This one's also by Crazy Art, like the Pencil People. Whimsical Friends. I don't particularly like this one, but I had ordered some Ohuhu water-based markers, and I wanted to give the Zentangly stuff a try here. I feel like it looks my tentacles look like they're popping off the page. They're like not underneath the what is that? A squid? Whatever that thing is. Yeah, but in the background I gave my Ohuhu water-based markers a try. Let's see. They didn't bleed through or anything on the paper. This is good paper, by the way. In these Crazy Art books, the other one I showed you, oh, the Prismacolor works wonderfully well on it. So I like this. This is the one that seems like it has a lot of stock images, although some of these are really cool. And they're just like drastically different as well. Like that seems like a stock image just filled with doodle art stuff, Zen doodle art stuff. But yeah, it's got lots of cool things. It's got a lot of patterns. I like patterns. I like busy. Some are over there's a test page. I was testing satin glazing liquid in this corner and other things here. This was an ugly page that I didn't like. I've sacrificed a lot of pages to science, trying to figure out what techniques work best. As I get a new medium, I test it out as well. All right, I bought Enchanted Faces because as an abstract expressionist, I never did people or skin or hair or anything like that, so I wanted to give them a try. Again, the problem runs into, you know, the Amazon paper. I'm testing Prismacolors versus Crayola, the blending techniques there. And this one I just did on naked, it's on naked paper. It's a little bit of Prismacolor, but the Prismacolor didn't work well, so I switched rather quickly. I think the butterflies are Prismacolor. I switched rather quickly to the Crayola, the harder lead, which seems to work much better on this naked Amazon paper. Should I hold that up for you? It's okay. My first skin tone, I bought the Crayola Colors of the World pencils, and I don't think they worked very well. I went over it and over it and over it, and I could not get them to blend in smoothly, you know, like Prismacolors do. So she probably looks a little funny. But anyways, the second girl I did in this book is kind of worse. I wanted to give her crazy hair, pink and orange hair. My first hair, my first face. So the second one I did was much more experimental. And this one, I had been watching lots of Coloring with Kay. She's like the magpie of the coloring world. She's got all the sparkly things. So somebody gave me a set of watercolor paints that are metallic. And I went crazy painting over everything. Like, I did it too much. I should have just did it here and there. I even painted over the girl. You can see where I damaged the page here. I think I acrylic painted with a base. And then I colored penciled over that. Again, one of those experiments trying to get the Amazon paper to work a little better. And that seemed good. It worked. It was a very thin, watered down coat of acrylic paint on everything, basically. And then the Crayola colored pencils on top. That worked well. And then it's like, oh, I'm going to be like Kay and sparkle everything up. And so then I painted watercolor over, I think, everything. I don't know, including, there was this one of the metallic watercolors. When I tested it on a piece of paper, it looked very skin tone colored. When I put it on her, it was gold. So I turned her into a Bond girl. And then I was trying to, like, get rid of it. I was trying to wipe it away, and it did wipe away, but then the paper wanted to, nearly ripped the paper there. So she's an ex-Bond girl with her paint removed somewhat, that I could get it removed. And then I had this black gel pen. Like, I don't think I'd used gel pen up until this point. I inherited some gel pens, so there's sparkly gel pen on there. I just threw a lot of sparkly stuff at it. Too much, I think. I'm not particularly fond of this one, but you can see where her forehead, the paper almost ripped because I was trying to get the gold paint off of her. Anyways, those are my tales. My tales of trying to, like, figure out Amazon paper. All right. Dimensions. A lot of this is experimentation. I'm like buying new mediums that I have never used before and experimenting with them. So here I had bought from the dollar store, I had bought some metallic markers. I don't particularly like this page, but I was so focused on the metallic markers and wanting to try them out that I didn't pay much attention to my other color choices. I was just trying to match them to the markers. So I think there's like a bluish metallic one. There's silver, which ran out right away, and then I had to go over it with Uniball silver. There's a copper one. And I want to say there was a rose-colored one somewhere. I don't see it, though. But anyways, trying to match the colors to the markers. I don't know. I wasn't paying terribly close attention. I don't really have any highlights and low-light colors in there to really make it pop. But It is what it is. Experimentation, more experimenting with different mediums that I've never used. I'm not sure I care for designy things. That got tedious really fast. And in Daydreams, we have, this was right after I did the mushroom picture in that nice little town book. And so I immediately used the similar colors and tried it on this paper because I'm like, I gotta see if it works better. So it did work better here. And then, just to try out my Hannah Carlson book, this is all Prismacolors. I just did the little bug page there. So those are my colorings from March and April. My first few colorings in coloring books. Using different mediums here and there, mostly Prismacolors, because that's what I had. I have purchased, at this point I had purchased a few more things, and people gave me things, but I hadn't really delved into them yet. As I continue in my next 2 months, May and June, I start delving into other things a little bit, and then July we just go like full into all the other different mediums that I have. So those are my completed pages from March and April. I thank you for joining me today. I hope you have a wonderful morning, afternoon, evening, whatever it is for you. I will see you next time. Live long and prosper. Bye-bye.